If you have a cow or two, you're gonna have a lot of cream. And if you have cream, you're gonna have to make butter or ice cream or sour cream or clotted cream or cream cheese, or what else do we make with cream? Whipped cream. Couple things to know. When you're making butter, if you sour your cream, it will turn into butter faster, but it will leave it with a little bit of a sour flavor, which is absolutely fine for baking, but it's not that great for your fresh eating. So I'm not even bothering to sour mine. In order to sour it, you just take the jars out of the fridge, set them on the table, take the lids off or loosen them lightly and let them kind of breathe for 24 or 48 hours. And then you have sour cream. Not sour cream, you have soured cream. It's not bad, it's just stronger flavored. I don't do that because I want fresh cream. If the cream is sitting in the fridge for a couple days, if it's 2 or 3 days old, I get a little higher yield of butter than if I'm using fresh cream the same day I get it. Like, that doesn't quite yield as much butter. That's my theory, I don't know if I'm right. When we had tried to make butter recently, we had tried to use this handheld butter churn that we got from Lehman's catalog years and years and years ago and just haven't been using. It did not work at all.
M18 high demand butter making battery.
Nice stack of books to stand.
The M18 butter churn, still churning after 6 hours. Same butter.
What is it?
Failure.
I had thought incorrectly that you're supposed to let the cream come up to a warmer temperature before you start churning it, and that'll make it easier, and I was wrong. I think the ideal temperature is, I've heard, 50, 55 degrees. I just do it straight from the fridge and it's been working great now. Don't let your cream warm up. I don't want to be standing here cranking cream for days on end. That's just as ridiculous. I wanted something hands off. I needed a new blender, and so we got one from Costco. This is the Ninja Foodie, and it has changed my life. We do not use this blendy sharp thing, the kill your hand blade. Switch it out for the dough blade. It's just a little gentler on the cream. This is still not my ideal butter churn. What I want is, what do I want, John? It's a Gem Dandy. I think it's called a Gem Dandy. It's old. It's like a jar like this, but fatter. And then the motor sits on top. There's a paddle attached to the lid. So you stick that down in and just plug it in, turn it on, and it just goes by itself. And you can walk away. I still have to monitor this, which I'm not a fan of, but it's way better than using that stupid thing. And when I'm skimming my milk and I'm doing it for butter, I try to just get the very top. I do not go down and skim all because I want a bunch of cream for my cheeses or in the regular milk that we drink. So I'm just taking off the thick cap part. You can also notice on this cream that right down here, there's a cream line. So there's a little bit of milk at the bottom. I just throw it all in. It's not gonna matter. It just becomes buttermilk. And you can either cook with it or feed it to the pigs. The cream is pretty thick on top. I usually fill it no more than about here. It needs some space to go as it's being beaten. It's gonna be loud. So you put this on, make sure it's all closed up, and then I put it on the manual setting and crank it up to 8, which is the highest, and let it go. I'm not sure how long it goes, I haven't timed it, but I think it's about a minute, and then it stops automatically. I hit it again, it goes another minute, stops automatically. Somewhere around in the 3rd minute, I'll start watching it, and usually after the 3rd minute, I just pulse it to finish it. I'll stop at different points so you can see how it's developing. But here we go. That was the first time. So it's on the lid like that. It's a little bit whipped up. And inside, you can see it's getting into like whipped cream. It's frothing up. So let's go for another minute. It's starting to change a little bit. Whew, okay, that was the end of the 2nd minute. And it is now getting chunkier. And it looks a little bit like butter here. So, but it's not butter yet, but it is definitely past the smooth whipping stage. It has gone too far. So I am going to clean off this lid and put that down in here, and then I'll start pulsing it. So I switch it over from manual to automatic and go with the smoothie setting. I'm going to stop it right here so you can notice. You'll see like down here where it's beating more, it's getting more solid at the bottom than it is at the top, and you'll see holes and gaps. I think the butter forms first down here, but then it's going to all switch and get juicy and milky, and then you'll see chunks of butter. And notice also, this is all like cream, white colored. The butter is bright yellow, so watch how that changes. Here, it's split. So right there, do you see how that split? All of a sudden you could see the darker yellow and the white. Watch again. And I'm doing it a couple more times because I want to make sure I get all of it out. And let me just check and make sure. Oh yeah, see, I want to wipe down a little bit of what's on the lid there. Get that in so it gets beaten well. But it comes off a lot faster now. It is separated, it is now slick and just runs off because there's so much liquid now. It's not all one solid thing of cream. But I'm going to separate it just a little bit more. Don't want to go too far because you don't want to just keep creaming the butter. But I do want to do it long enough that it all breaks up. It's looking pretty good. Okay, so you can see on the outside how it's separated. You see the yellow butter and the white of the buttermilk. And here on top, you got butter. And down in there, you have the chunks of butter. Yay. So these are 2 gallons of milk that we got this morning. This is Emma's milk, the A2 Jersey. And this is Daisy's milk, who is a Holstein. Emma has been lactating. This is her second lactation cycle. She delivered about a month ago. And this is Daisy's milk. She delivered a year and a month ago, so 13 months ago. Emma has a calf on her. She holds back for her calf, Fiona. And Daisy does not have a calf on her, and so we're getting more of the cream. Well, her cream is thinner, but there's more of it. Hers is thicker, and there's less of it. If we had the calf not on her, we would get more cream. We probably would get down to here. So this is a cream line, thickness of the cream. So it is like, I'm doing this left-handed, so excuse the inability to do it, but I cannot even get it out, come on. That's how Emma's cream is. This is another Emma, so you can see, you just kind of pull it off like that. I mean, the cream line goes down lower, but that thick top part, and this was done yesterday. So that's how much it thickens up in a day. And this is Daisy cream. It's thick and it's nice, but it doesn't quite have that same skim. There's still some, it's a little bit chunky too. You can see Daisy's line is down there. So look, here's Emma's. This is the cream.
Oh my goodness.
I use a kettle and then a strainer. I don't clean it off all the way, I just do it most of the way. Just use it again for the next batch. Same with the lid. Now while this is straining, I just go ahead and start the next batch. I do not do more than maybe 3 or so batches with this mixer at a time because I'm afraid it's going to hurt the mixer. So it's just one thing to be aware of. You don't want to overdo it. I just pour that in. There's all the buttermilk. And here comes the butter. But isn't that beautiful? So once this has been draining here for a bit, I will take it and just slap it into this glass bowl so I don't want to overflow this one. Pretty good yield of butter. can see the bits of butter on top there. And this is excellent for baking, of course, or pancakes naturally. What I like to do is put it in a jar, keep it in the fridge. If I use it up in a week, great. If not, I feed it to the pigs. So the next step is washing the butter. You need to get all the whey out of the butter, or else the whey can go rancid and turn the butter. Cold water, wet your spoon, and start pressing. You can see the milky whey coming out. Not whey, buttermilk. What am I calling it? So I'm just going to be doing this for a little while. Each time, it should be less buttermilky. I would use a bigger bowl, but then my hand doesn't get around it. And also this is another reason why I only do several batches of butter at a time. Too unwieldy if you do more. Some people say you should do this a certain number of times, like 3 times or 5 times. I don't pay any attention to that. I just do what I think works well. I notice the little floaties that come to the top, they will like start sticking to the whole ball of butter as it gets done. At this point, it's all sticking together, so I can kind of just let it keep washing. And there we go. I think that's pretty much washed butter. Now there's still water that's in here. You can see as I'm pressing it, it will be squirting up and more will come out. So what we're going to do is we're going to sprinkle the surface with salt, and that will help to draw some of the moisture out. To get all the water out. Put it up on the corner so it's slanted a little bit. I don't know what the proportions are. I think it's maybe a half teaspoon of salt for a gallon of cream. This is like a gallon and a half of cream, and I will probably end up using a full teaspoon. I like to go a little bit heavier on the salt because I like my butter salty, and I go by taste. But for this part, I just sprinkle some on the outside and let it draw the moisture for a little bit. And then I'll work it in the rest of the way. This will sit for about, I don't know, 10-15 minutes, and then I'll work at it some more. This is a cherry bounce without the cherries. It's just the juice that I left over, so it's sugar and rum and brandy. And it's also, what's it called? Like it has pectin in it from cooking the sour cherries and the sugar, so it's kind of thick and chunky. Boom, boom, boom. So that's just basically like, looks like alcohol jello. And then seltzer. And how's that for a drink? Yum. So now you can see that the salt is sweating a little bit and there's some water pooling in the bottom of it. So I'm going to drain that off. And now I'm going to start mixing in more salt and kneading this to work it in. And in the process, I'll get out more liquid. I'm going to add a little bit more salt. Now I'm going to taste it. I'll taste some salt, which is good. Might want a wee bit more. Should taste it more time. Yep, and get a hit of salt. Strain off the last of the water. So now what we're gonna do is measure it into 4-ounce packs and freeze it. I try to get it exact because baking. From almost 1.5 gallons of cream, I have a 1/2 gallon of buttermilk plus a good 2 cups. And I have 1 pound, 2 pounds, 2 3/4 pounds of butter plus a smidge. That's about 1 pound of butter per half gallon. So I don't know if that's good or bad, but it's what I'm getting. These will go in the fridge and they will chill overnight to set up, and then I'll move them to the freezer in the morning. And look at the bright, 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 bright yellow. Sunshine. So there's the butter setting up until morning. So this is the butter I have thus far. It's not that much, but it's a start. And I'm gonna put more butter. That's the butter that we just made. Butter, butter.